Alrighty, here we go. We have YoDa spawning as our blue Terran in the 6 o'clock position on Shattered Temple. Great map here for ZVT. Always leads to some pretty epic back and forth games. And over at the 9 o'clock position, we have our always purple Zerg, MorroW himself, who is currently up 1-0 after a decisive win over Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Apocalypse was looking good in the early game and then just kind of fell apart.
Really good. Pulled off the macro CC really well. Got
Safely.
His production up great. I love the way he did that tiered attack where it was 8 Hellions. Didn't do a ton of damage. But
I loved the first attack. The first attack I thought was great.
And then followed that up with the bio attack, and then followed it up with tanks, but he just pressed way too early with tanks.
The Marine tank attack scared me.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? 10 Marines and 4 tanks, and you're just out on the field in tank mode, roaming around? Like, that's a big no-no.
Right.
I would have loved to have seen him chilled back a little bit, got up a few more missile turrets, taken a defensive posture, got his armory, both eBays going, real solid, a second factory, a reactor on his starport, get some medevacs out there. I don't think we saw more than 2 medevacs on the field at any given point.
They were just used for drops and killed immediately.
And then, you don't have to sit back and max, but if you sit back in that situation and you close to max, and you find an opportunity to push anywhere between, say, 160 and 200 supply, that's when you find yourself in a very, superior position to the Zerg.
This is cute. Out of both players, actually, we had a couple of interesting things to note. As MorroW actually scouted Overlord first to the top right-hand corner.
He's not going to be happy about that NG bay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about that as well. We have, he scouted to the top right-hand corner with his Overlord because he didn't want to reveal his position, and he actually went to the bottom left-hand corner next. And then YoDa comes right back and decides to go ahead and drop down the engineering bay. Perhaps a little bit frustrated that MorroW didn't show his Overlord before.
And MorroW actually going to lose a lot of mining time right here. That NG bay definitely paying for itself straight into command center first. I love it. I love this build from YoDa.
This is so greedy, but it's so cool.
It really is. And you see the pool just starting now. So YoDa actually has a great handle on what's going on here. And his build could not be any better given the circumstances. I think this is the best possible opener he could have asked for. He denied the natural, opened CC first, delayed the spawning pool. He's not going to be under any threat, and he transitions immediately into double gas here. MorroW scouts that, but I don't think that there's anything that he can necessarily do about it. And here we go. YoDa's got his full wall up. Didn't even need that, but is getting it anyway.
Yeah, and this drone doesn't have a gas to steal or anything like that anymore, so YoDa's on top of things at the moment. Doomed!
He has the death curse.
And there's quite a bit of resources saving up for MorroW because of the weird timings of all of this. Normally you'd have basically exactly 350 so you can double queen and then, use a little bit of larvae after that. But as it stands, MorroW's just piling up a lot of resources when he doesn't necessarily want to.
Surprised YoDa hasn't double orbitaled yet. There we go. There's the first orbital.
Yeah.
Actually builds it with the natural.
That's kind of cute. Is he building? Okay,
there we go.
He was just waiting for 150 out of
that's such a beautiful sight.
Yeah.
2 orbitals coming at the same time. Nothing more satisfying as a Terran player.
Cannot tell that you're a Terran player at all.
I mean, come on.
No,
it's gotta be frustrating for the Zerg to watch too. He's like, God, 2 mules are about to come down.
And so he is going to open with reactor at Hellions as well. Probably is just going to be a mech build after this, but of course we'll certainly find out. MorroW investing in an extra queen at the moment once again, actually walking down multiple queens. So he is going to be producing 4 queens altogether, just like we saw in the game on Antigua Shipyard.
So you think we're going to see mech here?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, he's built up so much excess gas for the time being. I would expect to see a second factory. He could totally switch it up on me. 3 ranks engineering bay, mass upgrades, but I think it's going to be factory.
I actually agree with you. Yeah. If we were going to see a transition into bio, he probably would have gone with 1 gas, opened with the reactor at Hellions, then added a few more Raxes, and maybe gotten a 3rd macro orbital with the extra resources that he would have had from just, we do. Oh, and I guess it's going to be a transition into bio, which is strange because you already pointed this out. He has stockpiled quite a bit of gas. I mean, and I really don't see him spending that. He's already up to 400
To effectively use that gas, he'd have to build another barracks, 2 add-ons, an engineering bay all at the same time, and then a starport more than likely to just find some sort of equalize so that he didn't stockpile like 700. And MorroW actually, once again, Roachhorn coming down at about the same time. So this is basically identical to the build we saw on Antigua Shipyard.
I really, really like this opener from MorroW. I think it's excellent. And wow, YoDa really going after that creep tumor. Not going to get it. Oh, my goodness. That shot actually was in the air, I think, right as the tumor finished, and then it cloaked itself.
Yeah, we saw a crazy situation yesterday on the land that I casted out of Mountain View, where there was a Reapers were going at it, and a Reaper died as the first hit, because the Reapers do the 2 attacks. You know, the first hit from the Reaper went through, the second one didn't, and that's how he survived. So ridiculous sometimes you see that, but that is bound to happen eventually. YoDa is building a nice supply depot wall, though, to make sure that no Ling run-bys are going to kill him. And we already have layer tech coming up now for MorroW.
I like the formation of the wall from YoDa. A little bit risky to put the bunker actually as part of the wall, just because MorroW would have the option for a mid-game Baneling bust, and he could just smash straight into the bunker. A lot of times you'll see, players like MVP and MMA, they'll do the supply depot wall, but the bunker will be back more towards the command center in a safer position, like right in there.
Here.
Yeah. And then you'll have the full wall with supply depots, and you're still safe. And he's going to have to smash through the depots and then smash through the bunker, which takes an additional 8 to 10 Banelings.
Right.
But either way, he's going to be safe to Ling run-bys, and that's really the important thing. And I don't think MorroW's going for any kind of mid-game aggression, because we already have the Spire on the way and 7 creep tumors.
That's
right now.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
That's
they're just
insane.
all sprinting out at the moment. So MorroW's making good use of his APM at the moment, but I think he's going to need a third base stat. Looks like now he's finally going after the Sharkable Rocks, but YoDa's macro has been great.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
he's
really,
at 80
really
supply.
liking this style from MorroW, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets his creep spread. He, hyper accelerates his creep spread.
Yeah.
And now we have a push from YoDa. Early stim and a ton of Hellions with some additional SCVs for repair here.
Oh my God.
MorroW does not have anything. 14 Lings and 5 Banelings in production. 22 Lings now, but the Spire's not done. He doesn't have anything to stop this. All the creep tumors he's been working so hard to produce are going to go down here. The Banelings are actually getting intercepted before they pop. This could be terrible for MorroW. He's in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, most of the Banelings did go down there. More Lings are being rallied out, but the drones are all getting roasted. A few Lings are coming in from the back now, but that's not going to stand up against the Hellions, and I think that this may outright force a GG right here.
Yeah, it might. I mean, he's certainly going to pull very far ahead here. A ton of drones going down for MorroW. Here come the Lings from the main. I think he'll be able to clean this up.
Yeah.
But he lost quite a bit there, and that certainly, 16 workers killed, certainly stunted his economy and forced, look how many Lings he had to produce there. Great timing push from YoDa. A lot of damage done right there.
Yeah, so right now, MorroW is way down in workers. He's down by 10 at the moment. Is there another base coming up for YoDa? No, because he got that second base up so quick. There we go. There's the shadow of a third one, so he will put that up here momentarily. But his infrastructure is great off of 2 bases at 11 minutes in the game. He's going to be able to produce a ton of units. So MorroW looks like he's quickly recovering and trying to drone out of this. And there's going to be his third base now. But YoDa is playing so well at the moment.
Yeah, he really is. That was just an excellent timing push right there. Totally off kilter, just random timing push with a hodgepodge of units, a ton of Hellions, the added SCVs for repair, and now he's cleaning up these these roaches in mid, and he's going to deny even more of these creep tumors that MorroW's been working so hard to get up all game long.
Yeah, pretty much all the advantage from those extra queens. I mean, that was their purpose at the beginning of the game. Yes, to help defend against Hellion pushes and stuff like that as well in conjunction with roaches. That was their point, to get him a macro advantage and spread that creep everywhere. And it's just nowhere now. Look at that.
I
even
think
have his bases connected.
I think MorroW, next time he does this build, maybe get out some earlier Lings and then use Banelings before they have speed. But since you have the extra queens, you're going to have so much creep.
Yeah.
So if you can engage on the creep with speedless Banelings and a lot of speedlings, I think you'd actually be in a really good spot.
And Overseer does pop, but it gets down the contamination on top of the starport, so I guess that's some small consolation that the starport will not be producing for a while.
YoDa going straight for the gold here.
This is cute, and he's not turned this into an orbital command. He would have done that back at home if that was his intention. So that'll be Planetary Fortress here pretty soon.
We do see a lot of Lings in production here, but keep in mind, YoDa's grabbing his gold at the third at the same time that MorroW's getting his up.
YoDa's actually using one of his barracks to continually produce Reapers
Interesting.
now. He's actually using them in his unit composition, and they're going to be used for
Oh,
purposes
wow.
as well.
This is pretty risky from MorroW here. He's smashing into the gold. He's committing a lot of forces here. He's going to have to run out. He will lose quite a few, but he does get a mule. He does pick off a few SCVs, but he's really not going to be able to do any substantial damage, and the PF will get up at the third here. And, you know, all things being equal, we have a Terran and Zerg on equal footing right now. They both have the gold. Yeah. And that puts YoDa in an outstanding situation. Look at the supplies, 116 to 112, 115 to 116 now.
Yeah.
And what is he doing with all these Reapers?
Yeah, YoDa's units at this stage of the game are actually just a little bit, or quite a bit more cost-effective, I should actually say. Reaper looks like it's going to get cut off here by these Mutalisks now, but another one's making its way. No, I apologize. That blue blob is actually a medevac that's over around the 12 o'clock position. All right, so YoDa's going to take control of the center of the map here, making good use of his medevacs. So they're actually being used for healing this game, as opposed to the last game. But anyway, MorroW coming in now with this Mutalisk, and a missile turret already in place. YoDa should be able to reinforce some units, but it looks like he's going to outright lose a barracks.
Yeah, and that's not good.
Yeah,
he needs every Rax he can get right now, because his minerals are coming through so fast from the gold. He needs all that marine production. It's so important for him right now. He could even afford to add a few additional Raxes here, and he'll probably add some turrets in the Rax line now to protect them on the north end of the Raxes. But now reduced to 3 Raxes. There we go. There are some additional Raxes in between the gold and his natural.
Yeah, there they are.
And a factory as well.
We'll probably see one eventually put up on that reactor as well. Make use of the existing reactor, and a lot of banelings actually morphing in for MorroW now that he has not been able to move off of his 3 bases, because every time he's contemplated breaking down rocks or taking a 4th base, YoDa's been there to do some damage or harass or push in or just force more units out of MorroW.
Yeah, and stimming an awful lot of units right there to intercept these mutas to go down. Wow, very well-timed stim. Well. And MorroW wants to take control of this Xel'Naga very badly, actually moving out with all of his banelings and lings, but he does not want to push into this defensive tank position here. YoDa just going pure tank marine, has a great position right now. This dropship will get intercepted on the way to the main. Doesn't even get a marine down.
That's a good win. That's a good win there for MorroW. However, we do have a drop coming in now, which looks like it's going to force a cancel. On this base, there's not really any chance that MorroW's going to hold on to that. He's moving his way back in, though, with more Mutalisks, actually running into a line of a ton of missile turrets there, as a matter of fact.
YoDa with great positioning on the map right now. He's just looking very solid. He's actually gearing up to take bottom right. He already has the command center on the way, adding more turrets into the main as well. So he's just going to be super safe to any kind of Mutalisk backstab. Surprised YoDa actually hasn't grabbed a Rax where that reactor once was.
And I think YoDa's got to be a little bit surprised he doesn't see a base up here, and actually a little bit happy after that, knowing that he's got his opponent matched for bases. YoDa pulling back now with his Marines, but once those units are off of creep, of course, their speed does decrease quite a bit. If he pulled back any further, he'd run into a bunch of siege tanks. So
see, now YoDa here is playing similar to what we saw in the last game, except instead of sending the tanks out, he's just using a small band of Marines to control the midfield, and Marines are much more expendable. They're also much quicker.
You don't want to lose tanks at this stage of the game.
No, definitely not. And here we go. MorroW is flirting with a potential attack here.
He does have quite good upgrades as well. YoDa's got his substantially up at the same time, but this is going to be a powerful Bangling push if he decides to move in. And it looks like he is going to go for it. YoDa sitting in the back now with a lot of siege tanks. Those Banelings, it's really going to be how much damage can they do. They're running their way into the tanks now. The Thors are actually pretty effectively dealing with the Mutalisks.
Oh, they certainly are.
And YoDa kept so many Marines alive there.
Yeah, I think YoDa actually came up huge there. He did lose a few tanks. He lost those 2 Thors. That's actually a lot of resources right there in tanks and Thors, but this subsequent push from him is going to be so strong, and he's dropping multiple places at the same time here. He's dropping the 4th rather, and the main at the same time, and now he's going to drop the gold, it looks like, and that will allow him to get this great position here in the midfield.
Yeah, it looks like he pulled the vast majority of MorroW's forces away, so these Marines are actually just tearing through Mutalisks and drones at the moment. There's a very bad place for MorroW to be in as YoDa continues to advance on creep. Look at that, picking up, not even losing a single Marine there, and he has killed 29 workers with those drops.
Things are not looking good for MorroW here. He's falling back in supply, and now he's committing to another attack here at mid, where there are quite a few tanks sieged up, and YoDa with some great micro here. Look at him spread those Marines. Beautiful splits, although they will all go down. MorroW might actually be able to take control of the midfield back. He will clean up all of these medevacs.
As this base has still not been utilized for YoDa. He constructed that, what, about 5 minutes ago or something like that. You pointed that out, I believe.
And things just went from great for YoDa to actually a little bit of a scary situation. He's down on supply right now, 122 to 110, so MorroW does finally take the supply lead back. He has established his 4th base.
And YoDa's quickly going to be mined out of this gold here, as we do have a lot of mules were actually expended on that. It gave YoDa a nice boost in economy right there, but
what are our upgrades
utilized for too much longer. I think that, YoDa had finished 3-3, and it's 2-2 for these melee forces. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
So YoDa does have a distinct advantage in upgrades for the time being. And MorroW is committing to quite a few additional Mutalisks here, which, as we know, are not great in a straight-up fight against 3-3 Marines. That's for sure. The Mutas are at, what, 1-0?
I believe so. Let me go ahead and double-check there. Yeah.
Okay, so the Marines are just going to absolutely have their way with Mutas at this point.
The MorroW, though, because he had been kept off of a 4th base for so long, has not even bothered to put up an infestation pit or move to any sort of hive tech, though. And that could play into YoDa's favor here as he continues to increase his supply. Now actually going after this base down in the bottom right-hand corner, and I think he's going to have to put up another one at the same time. Don't forget, this is pretty low on resources because he did decide to put up, what, it was, remember, all the way back 23 minutes ago, this was actually a CC first build.
Yeah, YoDa really needs to get that bottom right position established. He also needs to take the 3 o'clock natural. Very important positions for him to grab right now, because as is, like you said, I don't know if MorroW wants to commit to this. There are so many turrets here in the main, and that's exactly what YoDa wants. He built this turret line for a reason, and he's taking out a ton of Mutas here, and that's going to give him time to get a Thor and some Marines over there to help deal with this. And really, all you killed right there was a couple supply depots and some turrets.
At the loss of what's going to be 4 Mutalisk, if not more, here in just a second. And
look at many more
directly over the Marines. A lot of damage suffered there as YoDa pushes through the middle with this Marine and siege tank line. At the same time, continuing to deny this base at the top right. Yeah,
on that Reaper.
Yeah, so that means it's denied a base multiple times.
YoDa needs to be careful here. He doesn't have the rest of his army in position. He's getting a little too aggressive with this small group of Marines. His army in mid is not ready for this fight just yet. He needs to siege up and get in position. But MorroW did lose quite a few units right there, just pushing, tempting the waters, if you will.
Yeah, YoDa's actually turned this around quite well recently. As MorroW had retaken the supply advantage and got himself in a pretty decent spot, but YoDa now, his little attacks are just continuing to do damage. MorroW finally has another base over at the 12 o'clock. Yeah, but YoDa is mining basically the same rate as well and just continuing to double drop all over the map. Units moving through the middle as well, but they get torn up.
Ooh, and picks up right as the Banelings come in, but both medevacs go down with full cargo.
And it looks like finally we saw that hive tech and infestation pit coming up for MorroW as he advances later into his tech tree. But now YoDa's directly assaulting the gold. He's never had a direct assault right up the middle up until this point, but he has it now.
And he has great position here outside of the gold. He's on the opposite side of that chasm. And he has tanks in position there, so every time MorroW wants to engage... some infestors going down there for free, and MorroW actually flies in with his Mutalisks into 2 Thors. They're taking heavy fire, and he has almost no Banelings remaining, only 3. Beautiful splits from YoDa, and YoDa could potentially just attack move here.
Yeah, I think he just won the game with that little move out there from MorroW. But I have to admit, what a job by MorroW to make a game of this for so long, especially after the very aggressive opening for YoDa when he did so much damage. Remember, don't forget, I thought he may have been able to outright end the game with that first Hellion and Bio push that he made.
So true.
Which did so much damage.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to win. Workers. I thought he was just going to win right there, but MorroW somehow, some way found a way to stave off that push, but now it looks like he is going to lose his 4th base here, and if MorroW wants to connect the dots and save that base, he has to run through that siege tank line in mid, and YoDa just doing a great job of abusing that position. He's going to kill 2 hatcheries here back to back. and that's going to stifle MorroW's economy in a serious way.
Yeah, definitely. The Infestors actually taking out those Marines there. Looks like pretty much all the attack forces have gone down. It looks like the hatchery is...
The one hero Marine.
Look at that.
Calls for reinforcements.
More Marines coming around the top left-hand corner, though, actually going after those Zerglings, which I don't think I've been able to research 3-3 at all. So, still sitting on 2-2 upgrades. YoDa has kept the advantage for quite a while now, as he continues to reinforce with just a massive line of units.
Now, MorroW is going to finish his Greater Spire here in just a second. Oh no, all of those drones are isolated at the gold, and they will all go down. And that'll bring the workers' loss count to 55. And it looks like he's just going to attack move here, not even bothering to siege the tanks, just storming the natural right now. Great fungals going down for MorroW, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, unfortunately, for MorroW. He does get so many of those units down to just 5 hit points. There's the power of combat shields for you. And it looks like the hatchery is going to fall here. Not that MorroW was mining, but he was making use of its production. He has fallen down to 70 supply now. YoDa is almost max and continuing to reinforce.
Yeah, YoDa just having his way with MorroW right now. He has... yeah, there it is.
GG! GG is called, and YoDa has taken the game for QIM, evening the set up 1-1.
I wonder if they're playing on the Korean server.
They were, yes.
Interesting. So is MorroW out there right now? Or is he just willing to play with the lag?